What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another video. Today we have SCP-096 vs SCP-106, the Shy Guy vs the Old Man from SCP Illustrated. So we've been on kind of SCP-096, I don't know what to call it. We've been watching a lot of videos about him. Obviously we watched a short film, then we watched a termination log from SCP Illustrated, which was more of a prediction. I'm pretty sure this is actually on the wiki because I did read the termination logs of SCP-096, and I know the Shy Guy did fight the Old Man. As far as I know, he still lived, even though, you know, the Old Man took him to the dimension, dissolved all of his flesh. Apparently 096 was scared, but still alive, which is the important thing. The Old Man was not phased as usual. But yeah, we're gonna get into this video, man. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, join our Discord, follow me on Twitch, all that good stuff. Let's get into this video.
Today we're going to be taking a look at an encounter between SCP-096 and SCP-106. Now, this is not an official cross-testing experiment. This encounter was written by myself and Dr. Sumerian for the purposes of this video. I'm
pretty sure there's one on the SCP Wiki, is there not?
And with that in mind, this SCP-096 test and all future...
How old is this video? Oh, it's like a year old.
096 test videos should be considered as SCP tales rather than official SCP documents. Now, this is an SCP battle, and this video does contain extremely strong violence, blood, gore, flaying, and scenes of torture.
Ramsay Bolton, what?
Without further ado, let's begin.
Oh, here's a question. If you watch Game of Thrones, if you were in Game of Thrones, what house would you be part of? Personally, I think I would be a... I don't know what I would be. I would be like a Stark stuff from the cold area. I would be a White Walker, you know?
The following data release has been authorized by the following council members and administration staff. Site. Full site containment breach. Junior researcher Dr. Whittier. Recovery and recontainment note SCP-096.
SCP-096 has been successfully returned to its containment cell. A trolley system was required to return SCP-096 to its containment cell as it assumed the fetal position and refused to stand up. In the same corridor that SCP-096 was located, evidence of SCP-106's grosser properties were discovered on the floors and walls. It is noteworthy that SCP-096 showed significantly elevated levels of stress when bypassing surfaces affected by SCP-106's grosser properties.
The old man looked at the fallen researcher with a smirk. The meal crawled away from him slowly, whimpering as it did so. It stopped for just a moment to look at the old man, and the smirk turned into a wide grin that nearly reached back to his ears. This would be delicious.
The Old Man is by far and away one of the worst. I always say he is the worst of all the SCP. He is the scariest one, bro. He is the one I would least like to encounter. Literally.
Then the door ahead of them opened. A pale, gangly figure plodded forward with unnaturally long arms raised to its face.
Why?
The sound of crying...
Why is he walking through doors? Since when? Why is he not in his cell?
Faintly audible, above the whimpering of the researcher between them. The crying thing lifted its head and met the old man's gaze. And everything changed. The crying got louder and then became screaming. The old man let the emotions wash over him. Shame, pain, sadness. Finally, rage.
I don't even know what the old man's feeling.
The figure dropped its hands and then its jaw opened wide, then wider still. The old man caught the slight crackle of bone as the jaw distended and reached halfway down this creature's chest. The thing's eyes were little more than slits now. Tears streamed down its face and a scream echoed off the walls.
That audio is not disturbing.
It sprinted straight at him.
Excuse me. What?
The old man smirked and gave a slight chuckle before lifting his arms, as if about to embrace an old friend. The thing slammed into him with impossible force. The old man felt the arms grabbing him.
That is the Night King raise the dead arms. That's what that is. You know, you can't see it, but you know, in Game of Thrones where he raises the dead, you know, he's just like that's what that is, you know. I wouldn't call it a hug, for sure.
It lifted him off his feet from the impact. The old man hit the floor and then sank into it. The creature loosened its grip as it sank into the floor as well.
Welcome to the
It tried to
pocket
scramble
dimension.
away, but the old man plunged his hand into the creature's abdomen. Organs and muscle liquefied as he fished around for the creature's spine. Then the old man gripped it and pulled the creature down into the darkness. The old man smiled as he watched the figure hit the stone floor of his dimension. It looked around confused and angry before returning to its docile form.
I really don't like the old man's dimension. It's even worse. Just encountering him is bad, but his dimension is just even worse. When I was playing SCP Containment Breach that time, man, and I kept falling in there, it was just so annoying and disturbing.
The old man removed the floor beneath it and watched it clutching frantically at the darkness. It fell onto jagged rocks that sliced into its skin. Then he crushed it between two walls before letting it come to a rest. It was on its knees, panting and bleeding, but alive. This thing was unusually resilient, but it was afraid. It was lost. It was ashamed. There was only one thing to do about that.
Isn't Shy Guy always all those three things? Like, I feel like he says that, but Shy Guy is always ashamed. You know, that's why he kills you for seeing his face.
The old man willed away the labyrinth and dropped the figure into a new hell.
World War One, nice. Oh, not that laugh. That's from Containment Breach, is it not?
Razor wire stretched across the field and away to the horizon in both directions. Artillery flashed in the distance, and then again as the shots landed nearby in and around the trenches. Planes strafed those trenches with machine gun fire. The rain and hail beat.
It's kind of crazy that he can actually create a reality when he goes in there. He can literally manipulate it, you know?
Flooding everything. There were bodies piled high along the trenches, some living and screaming for relief, for their mothers, for mercy. Fires burned and lightning snaked across the sky.
Sounds like World War One to me.
The creature hit the earth with a wet thud. It tried to stand and the rain caused the mud to slide off its form.
Oof.
The ground was rocked by an explosion and it was thrown into a trench, landing with a splash in a mix of filth and blood. It staggered to its feet and began moving through the trench, crying as the rain scoured its skin. The old man willed the razor wire to wrap around the figure and pulled it taut. He watched in glee as the blood flowed freely, adding to the river of filthy...
You've probably got to assume the old man is not used to people surviving this long. Oh, shit. He's not used to people surviving this long. Like, usually he does stalk his prey, you know? He does take his time, but after all that, usually the people or the things he encounters are dead, right?
Water that was flowing in the trench. However, he heard no cries of pain. He waved a hand and the razor wire began whipping the figure on the back,
Yikes.
tearing off layer after layer
Guy's taking
until
lashes.
the lengths of ripped flesh hung down to its knees, exposed.
Whoosh. That's so brutal. Getting lashed by a whip. Oh my god. What film was it that I was watching that has that? Is it Pirates of the Caribbean? Where they were lashing them. That's
the
crazy.
bone beneath. Still, no cries of pain. He released the creature, which dropped to its knees and began crying again. This was not enough. Another bomb impacted behind it and threw it off its feet. The hard rain stopped for a moment as dozens of artillery shells exploded all at once around them. The creature's skin bubbled away and its blood boiled. It was still not enough.
That's
He dropped
nasty.
earth on it. He buried it under blood and bones and metal. The old man could see it pulling its way through the mud. Ghostly soldiers with no faces began appearing as the figure pulled itself free. They jeered and tormented the creature. They struck it with their rifles and plunged their bayonets deep into its body. The old man watched on as the charred flesh began to fall away, revealing fresh skin beneath. The soldiers dragged the creature up the walls of the trench and strapped it with razor wire to a length of wood.
It looked like something that would come out of Un-London.
They flayed the skin from its legs, slowly making their way
Ramsey.
up, whistling the song It's a Long Way to Tipperary.
Oh,
Each piece of
I
flesh
don't know
was
what that
tossed
is.
back into the trench, where it slowly succumbed to rot and maggots. The old man's eyes rolled back and he raised a hand to the sky. Just then, a colossal bird made of feathers and bones and metal descended from the clouds and moved across the sky. A massive eye opened on the bird's stomach, looking down at the battlefield. Torrents of blood began to flow out.
Sauron? Some Lord of the Rings shit here, dude. What's going on?
Trapped creature's mouth towards the eye, choking off the moans and cries. As time passed, more blood flowed out of its wounds, its eyes and its fingernails. Lightning illuminated the makeshift altar, and the dark black and red fluid drifted lazily into the sky. The figure fell limp as the bird thing finally finished its passage. The old man approached the figure. It was barely breathing. The thing's taut, rotten flesh fell off it like wet paper. In a second,
disgusting.
The old man was rising up through the floor of the foundation for...
I'm so happy that I'm not one of those people that as soon as you say something, they visualize it. Because I would be messed up in that case. Luckily for me, I can choose if I want to visualize it or not.
Facility once more, dragging the lifeless corpse of the creature with him. The old man dumped it on the floor and looked down. It was slowly starting to grow new flesh.
I also suck at visualizing things in my brain, by the way.
Spilled from what veins had begun to heal. The thing had curled up in the fetal position, crying to itself.
He kneeled
in front of it, but the figure refused to look at him. The old man grinned widely once more, and left it to its weeping.
I mean, that's kind of the termination log I read, so maybe it was a tale on the SCP wiki that I read. It was pretty much this one. Yeah, I have to say, the shy guy is not as terrifying as the old man. The old man, I don't think there is an SCP that could beat him in combat, because he has his own dimension. If he takes you down there, which you cannot really escape, from all the stories I've heard, once he decides to take you down there, you're going down regardless, because he just appears out of the wall, like Obito from goddamn Naruto. The guy has his own dimension. He drag you in from whichever way. And obviously he starts dissolving flesh once he touches you, so as soon as he decides to stick his arm through the floor and grab your foot's getting melted off. And most of the scary SCPs don't have crazy regeneration, you know, unless it's Shy Guy or the Lizard 682. They don't really have crazy regeneration. I wonder if the statue could be dissolved by 106. Because obviously the statue went into the clockworks or whatever and got all mangled, but he's still alive. So I wonder if SCP-106 dissolves him, if he will actually be terminated or not. Doubt there's anything like that in the lore or the wiki. Probably a few tales about it, how to terminate 173. But yeah, we might check that out in the future. And you guys let me know what you thought about this video. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you all next time.